On behalf of the board of Linn-Mar School District, I welcome you to this evening's meeting, and I ask now that we have John, will you please determine a quorum?
Director Buchholz?
Here.
Director Foss?
Here.
Director Mansour?
Here.
Director Maury?
Here.
Director Thomas?
Here.
Director Walker? President Lyle Lancaster?
Here. To keep our meeting flowing this evening, I will not only ask for an agenda item, I will say number 200, adoption of agenda. And then we'll have a pause so that we can keep track of who's making the motion and who is seconding the motion in all of our parliamentary procedures. Before we have our adoption of agenda, knowing how important our staff is to us, I'm asking right now that we take a moment of quiet, wherever that draws you to. And at this time, we would like to just pause and remember Kurt Heineck. He was our Oak Ridge teacher, and he has recently passed away. And we'd like to keep him, his family, and his family of friends, especially his coworkers and students, in our hearts. Please join me. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to take a motion to adopt the agenda, please. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay.
I've got a motion by Britt and a second by Barry. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
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 Are there any opposed? The motion carries. At this time, we have item number 300, special recognitions, and we'd like to, at this time, recognize, I think, some special people among us tonight. We are excited to have you here. There's been a couple high fives and joy. At this time, I would like to have our Associate Superintendent, Nathan Weir, and Laura Manley, our Elementary Teaching and Learning Director. Will you please recognize our National Math Stars nominees?
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Kids, when we call your name, just come up front and I'll help you for where you need to go and show you where you need to stand.
We have 14 exceptional fourth grade students from Linn-Mar Community School District that were selected as nominees for the 2025 cohort of National Math Stars, a prestigious recognition program for Iowa's top math performers. These students were among 764 statewide nominees identified by the Iowa Department of Education for scoring in the top 2% on the 2025 Iowa Statewide Assessment of Student Progress, or ISASP. These students are being recognized for their ISASP scores from last year when they were in third grade.
Hello, I'm CJ McDonald. I'm from Echo Hill Elementary. Our first student is Shuban Bodu. Didn't think I saw him. Okay. Second is Finn Crossett.
Very good, bud. Congratulations. Just stand right up here. Right up here. There you go. And face the crowd. Perfect.
Next is Rob Goganini. Rom. Did I say Rob? Rom? I didn't see him. Okay. Colin Jonda.
Congratulations, bud. That's awesome. Yep, just go stand right up there.
Arya Koteka.
Congratulations.
Charlie Kinsey.
Charlie, come here, buddy. There you go. Come stand right up here. There you go.
Samik Mishra.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Luke Streit.
There you go, Luke. I'll have you go stand on that side. Okay?
And James Taylor.
Congratulations, bud. Go stand right up there real quick.
Okay, next up, we'll honor the nominees from Westfield. Olive Fitch.
Congratulations. There you go.
And Ananya Patel.
Congratulations. Just stand right over there. Watch the cords.
All right, from Indian Creek Elementary, Isaac Gray.
Congrats, bud. There you go. Just go stand right up here on the end. There you go.
And from Novak Elementary, Caleb Hansen.
Yeah. Congrats, bud. Go stand on that side. There you go.
And from Bowman Woods Elementary, Jonathan Anyanwu, who could not be here tonight, so I'm accepting on his behalf.
Congratulations. There you go.
Fourth graders, we are so proud of you. You worked hard, asked great questions, and showed how much you love learning. Being picked for this award is a big deal, and you should feel really proud of yourselves. Keep up the great work. You're doing amazing things. Please join me in congratulating these students on this great achievement.
All right, we're going to get a picture, so let's just, scoot together. Keep scooting down. There you go.
Okay, everybody look here. 1, 2, 3. Parents, we will send this to you too. Wonderful. We'll do
Hold on,
individual
kids.
photos out here.
Yes, thank you. So kids, if you want to go out here, parents, does anybody want one more picture? Everybody got that? We'll make sure we can send those to you. But students, if you just want to come out this way, we'll take you out in the commons and you can get pictures. Way to go. Good job, everybody. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey.
If you are participating online or you are in the house, it is an exciting time to have our students come in the house, and especially with their families and such young people with great promise for our district. So thank you very much for that, that opportunity to celebrate what's going on here. In the spirit of celebration, we are now going to also celebrate the proclamation to honor our principals on National Principals Month. The proclamation for National Principal Month, October 2025. Whereas principals have a significant direct impact on the success of students and staff. Whereas principals fulfill many administrative responsibilities behind the scenes. Whereas principals are guiding leaders for students, staff, families, and the community. Therefore, we, the Linn-Mar Community School District Board of Directors, proclaim the month of October as National Principals Month. We urge everyone to take time during this month of October to say thank you to our principals for their dedication and their hard work to ensure the success of our students in reaching the district's goals, to inspire learning, unlock potential, and empower achievement. Whether they are all out in the hallway, so let's go ahead and give them a round of applause in their absence. How fun that their principals would come and recognize them in their honors. At this time, we have item number 400, audience communication. We did not have anyone signed up to speak this evening, so we will now move on to item 500, our informational reports. Item number 501, our assessments and conditions for learning survey report. I have that Ann, our Executive Director of Student Services, and Nathan, our Associate Superintendent, will now report the 2024-25 assessments and conditions for learning survey.
All right. Thank you, board members. That was a fun way to start the meeting. Yeah. We kind of thought that would be a neat idea to recognize our math stars at the same time that we're talking about our achievement data. So Board members, you should have a copy of this at your desk. This is the second year we've done this, so you have the nice binded 200-page copy of all the data that's in there. Please don't be overwhelmed by that. We're going to walk you through that. For participants listening in the public, that is available in the exhibit, so a PDF electronic copy is available in the board agenda. So, all right. We're just going to walk through, just so you know kind of how we're going to walk through this data. And again, we're not going to go through all 200 pages, but we want to focus first on talking about, and Ann's going to cover that, just some of the things that we're really trying to do between general education and special education, between the two departments that we lead. And then the data is organized there that we'll look first at FAST, ISASP, the conditions for learning survey results, our AP and ACT exams. We'll look at graduation rates and then follow up with a peek at our college and career readiness indicators. So that's kind of what we're going to walk you through tonight.
Well, before I start, this is my first time in front of you, so I wanted to start out by thanking you, a sincere thank you.
Sorry.
Oh.
There you go.
A sincere thank you for this opportunity to serve as Linn-Mar's Executive Director of Student Services. It's been an absolute honor to stand before you tonight. I am thrilled to be a part of this district that leads with heart, vision, and unwavering commitment to every student. Over the past few weeks, I've been out in our buildings, and it's been a privilege of visiting our schools and witnessing firsthand the incredible impact our staff have on our students. It's been inspiring, and I couldn't be more grateful to be part of this journey along with each and every one of you. I look forward to partnering with all of you to build on the amazing work that you've already built and have already accomplished and started, and that's been underway, and to help build the future with every learner to thrive on. So, sorry, I'm a bit nervous. It's my first time in front of you, so bear with me.
Most of us don't bite, so it's going to be just fine.
All right, so what we've done so far is we started that collaboration with Gen Ed and Special Ed. Our goal is to create a shared vision with inclusive learning environments where all students can thrive. That involves creating spaces where all students can thrive academically, but also socially and emotionally. That is a unified support, bringing special education and general education teachers together to ensure inclusive, consistent instructional practices, impacting learning for all, to ensure consistency with that learning and across all settings. Key strategies that Nathan and I have been working on with our departments is that joint professional development sessions, being thoughtful of where it fits in for our student service teachers around those sessions with our instructional materials, with those inclusive strategies, and then behavior implementation and professional development. Our leadership collaboration between both departments have been involving weekly meetings with our teaching and learning directors, with our student service department directors and program consultants on sharing that mission and vision moving forward. What impacts this has on our teachers and our students, we kicked off the beginning of the year in August with that shared vision of what we're working towards with those inclusive practices. I've been out in buildings asking teachers with that August professional learning with our math, with our student services, having opportunity with Bridges, professional learning in the behavior implementation, professional learning for gen ed teachers, special ed teachers, and all staff. I found with anecdotally that our teachers reported to me that they felt more equipped to meet the diverse needs of our students in their classrooms, improved outcomes for students, access to that curriculum, and then stronger relationships, enhancing collaboration and mutual respect between general education and special education staff. What we did in our August professional learning with our behavior implementation professional learning, we did it with our elementary teachers in August. We will have behavior implementation for all of our staff for middle school and intermediate September 29th, and then for our high school in November. So we did it in August with all of our elementary staff. What we found, and this came strictly, straight from our staff that participated in that August professional learning. These are quotes from our staff. What I want to draw your attention to are some particular quotes that set well with me was that all our students are learners and have great value and can make great contributions. Each student is capable of learning at high levels and making progress. All students belong to the same space as much as possible, and all students are my students. When we come together, we create a continuum of support that is powerful, purposeful, and deeply personal. So I'm looking forward to this continued collaboration between both departments so that we can come together and make some pretty impactful work between both departments and out in our buildings with our staff.
Yeah, good. So I'll just build on that a little bit with what Ann was talking about is, you know, for 6 months or more, our two departments lived in two different buildings. We were at Boulder Peak and Student Services was at Hazel Point as we were building this. So we've kind of had this history that we want to overcome, and really our first kind of footprint that we could put on staff was this first professional development. And so Ann and I were super excited to see notes from teachers about bringing that together. Even though we work on different things at times, we're still rooted in that all students deserve a chance. And so as we approach our data, that's one of the things that we looked at is if we're going to impact this data, we need to make sure we're purposeful about that. So I'm super excited to be moving in that direction. Okay, we're going to walk you through some of the key points from the data. So do I have this one? Am I first? Yeah, okay. So for FAST, and that's going to start on page 3. This is probably the easiest one to find because it's right in the beginning. Again, for each data set, you kind of have the full picture of what we have. And so that was our hope in doing these annual reports, is just to be as clear and transparent with as much data as we have. So in your packet, you're going to find a descriptor for each level of assessment or test that we're talking about, or any of our measures, in this case for FAST. And so I've just pulled out a couple things. I could have pulled out, as we looked at the data, we could have pulled out a lot of different things, but just wanted to highlight some of the key points. In FAST, there are certain healthy indicators that we're required to monitor. You probably saw from the state report card just got published this week, and the state had some like newsletters, press releases that students had really increased pretty significantly in the areas of literacy. Again, you've seen us do that. We've been talking about training for staff, and especially with the plans that students have to have regarding being able to be proficient by 3rd grade, and the plans that we have to do to communicate with parents. So I think certainly that's where you see some of these key points from the data come up. So overall, you can see one of the things that we track is just who met or exceeded the benchmark from fall to spring. The other one that we look at, and that's listed in the healthy indicator number 3 section, but the other one that we look at is that 3rd bullet. Every building increased the amount of students that are not at benchmark in the fall and then meet benchmark in the spring. So that ranged in our buildings, K-6 buildings, from 24% of kids to 44%. And so that's really a key measure for us to see how much we've moved students. And then the last bullet point there gets to some of our focus that we've done with principals. If you remember last year, you met with building principals around their CSIP plans. They had a chance to kind of tell you what their building goals were. We asked principals to really target into what we refer to as our subgroups. So maybe those students outside of the general population that are really more discrepant from their peers. And so I pulled 2 into there. You can see where some of our English learners really increased, as well as some of our free and reduced lunch students. So that's kind of an overview of FAST.
So with ISAP, these 4 data points actually relate to some successes with Linn-Mar. Our Linn-Mar students went above and beyond with the state Grantwood AEA service area averages across all grade levels and all tests. Our ELA growth with 3rd, 5th, and through 8th grade showed the largest gains in proficiency from the previous year, ranging from 2% to 10%. Science successes, proficiency increased 5th, 8th, and 10th grades compared to the spring of 2024. And then the math excellence, well, tonight we celebrated 14 4th graders with the National Math Star nominees. So the math excellence grades 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th had over 80% of students proficient in mathematics.
there's a couple different things in your booklet. The Iowa assessments will start on page 7 with the overview. And then there's several pages of that. I just want to remind you what the data is that we put in there. There's 2 different looks. So you're going to see graphs for the students that compare Linn-Mar reporting groups, which would be 3rd through 11th grade in ELA, math, and science in 5, 8, and 10. So you'll see one set of data that compares them to the district and state average. And then there's a whole bunch of tables. And the tables come from a data warehouse that the department has. But you'll notice some fields are missing. And I just want to remind you that that's because that group size is smaller than 10, and so they don't publish that data to protect the identity of those students. As you continue to go through that, then you'll also see a 5-year comparison. The 5-year is just students over the last 5 years in a grade level. Now, that's not necessarily cohort data. That's just 5th grade every year over the last 5 years. But then at the end, and I know that was one thing that the board had asked me about in previous years, there is some cohort data. So that shows the overall percentage of students as they progress through the grade, because we think it's really important to see not only how we do year to year, but how those groups of kids either improve or maybe don't in some cases, and what we can do with that. So I just wanted to make sure you saw, there's a lot of pages for the ISASP, so don't worry if you're not thumbing through all of those. I can help you locate that information. Okay, our next one is conditions for learning. So if you remember, this is the state survey that was previously required, but last year was not required. We did not have any students in grades 9 through 12 participate in this survey. So when you see the 6th through 12th grade survey, the high school kids had it emailed to them and had the option to do that. And of course, you can kind of imagine how that goes sometimes. Question, Britt.
Was it just emailed? Like, how did we get the students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to take it?
6th, 7th, 8th grade, they did it as part of their pre-work before testing. So a lot of times what the buildings will do K-8 is have kids like on Monday talk about the test, make sure they have their printed tickets, do the conditions for learning survey. Because the high school isn't in classes and kids are moving at all different times, we set that Iowa assessment schedule. So they have to go to different places than their classes normally would be. And you know, this is on me because Jeff wanted to try it that way, and I said, hey, let's try it. We were hoping to get some participation, but again, it's not required. Honestly, there are about probably a third of the schools in the state even did this with students. So we need to talk, and we know that cabinet-wise and Ann and I's departments, just about what we're going to do moving forward to try to capture this. If we do continue to use conditions for learning, there's just some things we have to think about for cost since the state's not reporting that. But we would make sure we do something different this year to try to capture those.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
kids
good question.
kids don't read their emails.
Right,
So I was just
right.
curious if we tried anything else. Thanks.
Yeah, so one of the things that we always try to look at is on these charts and pages, the conditions for learning, sorry, board members, starts on page 103 in your booklets. So we always try to look at where did we have the most growth in student responses last year, and where did we have the most, there you go, you got it. And where do we have the most need for improvement? So there's 5 different areas that the conditions for learning survey measured. Our most growth, you can see there in 6 through 8, was in boundaries and expectations. Most improvement needed is emotional safety. For our 3rd through 5th graders that participated in the survey, physical safety was our most growth. And we noticed a need for improvement in boundaries and expectations. Those are very broad categories, but the data that our buildings get really drills down into what are those questions, what are the number of kids that responded. So our building teams have always looked at this data when they set their goals in the fall as an area of focus for them. Okay. Move on to the next one.
You'll find the AP and ACT key points on page 123. The ACT success, the 2025 school year Linn-Mar ACT composite score is 23.4, which is reflecting strong academic performance across the district. The record-breaking AP participation, Linn-Mar students took the AP, 748 students took the AP exam in 2025, a record high for our school district. The outstanding AP achievement, this is pretty outstanding. I want you to pay attention to this. This is a record high, was 92.12%, which earned a score of 3 or higher on their AP exams, which is pretty impressive. The statewide average in 2024 was 66%, and the global average was 60%.
Can I ask a clarification question? So it says 748. Were those the students or were those the AP tests taken? So one student can take multiple?
Good question. Yeah, those are individual tests.
Yep, good question. Yeah, individual tests for the 2024-25 school year.
All right, so the next one is graduation rates, and we've shared this data in the past. It's been pretty consistent with where we've been. You can see 2024, 2023, and 2022 there. So again, we've had quite an increase in graduation rates since 2022. You know, we always outpace the state and national for that, and one of the reasons we think that that's where we've really had an impact on that is certainly the work of our staff and the Compass program. That catches some kids that we probably would lose to not being able to finish. There's a lot of really tricky calculations in there, and if you ever want more information, you can go to the DE website and find that. They also do a 5-year graduation rate. I don't always share that because the one that gets in the news is our 4-year graduation rate, and so that's why we share that. The 5-year is a measure to see how many of those kids that didn't finish can come back and graduate, and our numbers are very similar in our 5-year as well. So just kudos to our staff. Again, we do a lot of things, and a lot of kids have varying needs as they go through school, but our Compass staff, surely the work of our counselors and the staff over there has really provided those kids an alternate way to earn those credits that may have otherwise resulted in dropouts for us.
So the college and career readiness key points, you can find this on page 131. The first point is, although this average has gone down from 76 to 60% in 2024 of students enrolling in institutes in post-secondary has declined, I do want to point out, though, that the strong college persistence for those enrolling the first year they roll in the second year is at 91%. So it's a powerful indicator of readiness and resilience of our Linn-Mar students. The top college destinations that our Linn-Mar students are choosing in-state is Kirkwood Community College, University of Iowa, if I may say, go Hawks, and then the Iowa State University. Out of state is Brigham Young University, BYU, University of Minnesota, Creighton University, and University of Wisconsin-Platteville. So the key takeaways, I forgot this was me, is that more than just numbers, our students are more than just numbers. These data points present real students, families, and the dedicated work of our staff. The focus, our goal is to have meaningful impact on our students and our families, to improve student outcomes and opportunities, not simply just shift the data, but make those relationships meaningful and impactful and make a difference in the lives of all of our children. So yeah. I want to thank our staff for all their dedicated work and the impact they're making each day in the lives of our kids.
Yeah, I would agree with Ann. I think our staff is key to this. Obviously, those people that are with our kids every day are making and having an impact. It's just really hard. We don't sell a product. We deal with little humans. And, you know, when we get this data all compiled, by the time it gets back to us, we've already 4 weeks into the new school year. So I hope our staff has a chance, and we'll ask buildings to review some of these key points as well, but that they have a chance to reflect on that because their hard work certainly shows through this report. So thanks, Ann. Nice job. You guys have questions for us, points of clarification? Yeah. I told Ann, I said they won't have any questions. They never have any questions when we're presenting student data.
I never have questions about data.
No, there you go. Go ahead. I'm teasing.
So I have fewer questions this year.
Yeah, there you go.
So, in the college and career readiness overview, I know we talked about this last year, and I know that you're getting the data from the National Clearinghouse, and they categorize things differently. I just want to kind of bring up again the idea of this percentage is only traditional college institutions. It's not taking into consideration kids that go into like career training or registered apprenticeship, and that is considered post-secondary education and training. So I would love to see us use some of the data that our counselors collect, like our checkout, like our exit senior surveys, where are you going? Because that would give us a better clue as to where that other 39, like what the other 39% is doing. Because I think if we looked at the whole picture, it's really not as big of a decrease from 76% to 67%. I think we just have students choosing an alternative route that the National Clearinghouse doesn't recognize. So maybe
Right.
that's not a question, it's more of a just
yeah,
a
good
general
point.
comment.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually going to look at that decrease, and while an initial reaction might be like, oh, there seems like there's less, it is not a concerning number to me, just based on the multiple paths graduates are taking after high school. And so I just was going to state like, yes, it's going down. No, I don't think it's concerning.
Yeah.
Kids are
And
finding.
it's also, like, that's not just a Linn-Mar thing. I mean, obviously, everywhere when schools look at the National Student Clearinghouse, for the most part, are seeing those same drops. But you're exactly right. More kids are going into that. And I know the challenge is, yes, they collect the exit slips. There's no good method right now that schools and kind of our state are like, okay, it's one thing to tell us your intent, but it's been really hard for the state to follow up with those kids of where they're at.
I will say that, because I've mentioned this is what I do every day, even at 67%, we're ahead of what the national studies, like the Center for Workforce and Development, they all say that 68% need to do something beyond a high school diploma. If 67% are doing traditional college and some of that other percentage are doing registered apprenticeships or career training, we're ahead of where the workforce data says we need to be with our graduates. So I think that's a proud stat as well.
Yeah.
A couple comments to share with the group too, because as important as the tech ed part of it and apprenticeships and all that is good, I've been able to spend quite a bit of time with 12 to 14 students that go to the University of Iowa right now. And all of those students, I hate to use this phrase, they're almost bored because they came out of here so prepared and so ready. And so make sure you share that with the group. I don't like to hear the word bored because 3 weeks into the school year, hang on, kids, because it's coming. But every one of them said how much more prepared they are than their friends, their roommates, et cetera. And that's a big deal, you know, because Linn-Mar, we feel, goes up and above and beyond. And once again, I don't want to shoot down the apprenticeships and all that, but everybody has the opportunity, and I think it's just a great honor to our staff. So.
Hi. So, first of all, thank you so much for coming over and explaining everything to us. This is my first time looking at it at this view. I was just looking at your 5-year comparisons in the spring, just quick glance at the math, and there are some grades that have gone down in the proficiency. Are we doing something, or how are we addressing that?
Yeah,
Because
good question. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously something we look at as well, really from a program, and that's why I like the 5 years too, because you can kind of see like, is there a certain drop at a grade level? Is it, you know, does it just happen was it a 1-year thing, or in this case, are there several years where that's been lower? You want to jump in?
No,
You're just agreeing.
I'm agreeing, because Nathan and I just had that conversation of that data analysis of that the other day in your office.
Yeah, and then Chad Lang's our high school director, our new high school director of teaching and learning, and we're really rethinking, and I think this is some point that we can bring some information forward to the board about kind of a program review cycle, because of, seems like everything I've been in since I've been here, COVID, tech issues, derecho, like there's a lot of things that have taken us off a kind of regular and consistent curriculum adoption cycle or review cycle. And you saw that last time during COVID when we had the ESSER funds and we did math and reading at the same time. I mean, I think based on feedback, we know that that's probably not the best way to do that moving forward. So to answer your question, yes, and we're looking at those things. There's just several moving parts with that. One of them's like course selection. One of them's making sure that we have aligned resources with that, the high quality materials. And then also looking at our standards because the state is continuing to revise those standards. And so, yes, we will look at those things. And when our directors work with certain levels, those are the things that we try to look at, whether it's something, hey, we need to take a look at this as a curriculum thing, or maybe this is an instructional gap at the school and the grade level, and we need to help the buildings with that as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, again, kudos, because we are clearly, our students are doing a wonderful job, but we can't let this slip, you know?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just have one more, and then I'm done. So I was really excited when I was previewing your PowerPoint to see the science scores go up in all those grade levels. And Nathan's laughing because we talk about this every year about science. I know that at certain levels we've been testing different science curriculum. Do you think that is that having an impact on our grades, or is it too soon? Or I guess I'm kind of looking for your input on what you think is helping to contribute to that increase in science scores, because the whole time I've been on the board, we've had science conversations every year, and we're kind of always like, oh, we get the kits, and it's really until we get to a certain grade level, it's kind of, so.
Yeah, great question. Because I knew you would ask that, and I specifically looked at science like, oh, Britt's going to notice that that jumped up a little bit. Yes, a couple of those things. We do have groups that are looking at new resources. That kind of aligns with what Minhai was talking about, like some new and different ways to teach math. We're also doing some work at the high school that's just in the initial phases with the science department about rearranging some of the standards and courses that kids will take for standards with that. Honestly, and you're getting Nathan's opinion here, I don't know that there's any data to back this, but reading scores went up and therefore science went up. Science continues to be, especially at 5th grade, not so much at 8th and 10th as much, but at 5th grade, a real measure of how well kids can read for information. And so when you see reading scores go up, I was not surprised to see our science scores go up, even though maybe at that level we didn't do something drastically different in terms of science instruction.
I appreciate the correlation, like you pointing that out, because
that doesn't mean that's the reason for it, but that's one of my guesses.
I can totally see that being a factor, though, because having just recently a 5th grader, it's a lot of paragraph reading, and then you got to find the data within it. So yeah, reading comprehension, reading going up, that would make sense.
Yeah.
And I know we haven't changed the kits we're using in 5th grade yet, so I appreciate that.
And we're still that'll be part of that curriculum review cycle that we continue to look at. Science will be one of those. And we know we probably need to make some updates in some of that curriculum. It's also tough too, I don't like that it's 5th, 8th, and 10th. I mean, I wish we had it every year, because then we could really be more fine-grained with that. But with only 3 grades testing, every 2nd or 3rd year, that's kind of tough to track that data.
Well, I was
But
very
yes,
excited.
It did improve.
Yep, I was
There you go.
excited, so I'm glad you thought of me when you looked at the scores.
Yeah, there you
go. Question, and you talk about reviewing curriculum and how often that gets considered for change and whatnot, and part of our role is just to kind of challenge assumptions and challenge what we've done for forever. Sometimes it makes sense to continue doing things. Sometimes what made sense back then, pick your date, doesn't make sense today, or we don't expect it would make sense tomorrow. One of them that I've noticed with other districts is how Linn-Mar has such an open campus and has the blending program. And I hear from parents who some who have students who are in it right now and some who aren't. And I hear concerns from parents about, are we just teaching to the lowest common denominator and letting kids who might have an opportunity for higher Excel if they had more time and not be blended out and have that kind of teacher and that focus. My question is, as you review things on a routine basis like curriculum, do you ever plan to just review and either verify that yes, we want to do it, or consider it otherwise for the blending and for the open campus?
Can we have just a clarification and definition of what blending means?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Justin, that's a really good question. I don't know that I can answer it in detail now. I know we've been having some discussions about that. Blending is something that the high school started several years ago, and that certain sections would not meet face-to-face on certain days of the week, and those students would have tasks that they would complete away from the teacher, whether that be in an online or a group project or some type of almost like a flipped classroom, like teacher's going to give them stuff and then they do it away from class. So we do still have blended sections. Yes, that is something we can look at. The main reason, when I was talking to Jeff about that at the high school, the main reason for blending was to, like the data that we look at about our number of kids that are going to college, to give them an opportunity to experience that learning that would be different, or more, maybe different from high school, but more similar to what they might see in a college setting. But as we were looking at that, there's a training piece that teachers have to go through in order to teach blending. They have to be certified in that. And there's some things that we could probably clarify with what those courses are and when they happen. Not every kid has to blend either, and I don't know that all students know that. So I appreciate that feedback. What I would maybe like to do, because I think that's more specific to the high school in terms of how they structure their teams and departments, that's probably something Chad and I need to work on as they go through course registration next year, to better clarify some of those things around those blended. They did have more sections at one point, and those have now probably lessened because some teachers aren't teaching in the blended environment anymore. I do know that none of those classes are required for graduation. Students have the self-option to do those. And those are classes where we have multiple sections of things. So you could choose a blended option, or you could choose a regular face-to-face option.
Yeah, and I'm not pretending here to know what's the best. I leave that in you. I have full trust with you guys. I was just asking if that's just something that you routinely just review and say, yep, what our assumption was last year maintains, and we still think it's the best thing. So in the application that you've done. So I appreciate that.
I can help the building. That would be more of a building level review thing, but we can certainly help them take a look at that, because there'd be enough data for us to look at over the last several years of what's that look like, and is it having the impact that we want for kids?
I just have one last thing, and good job. Thank you both. Really, I still have my one from last year.
Yeah, there you
go. And thank you again for the cohort charts table, because several of us really love that visual. And it is with that I was able to see, or really not see, any difference with where our COVID kindergartners are in this, because the scores are right in line. And I wanted to, that wasn't, I mean, we're several years out now, but I think it's like I had one of those COVID kindergartners, and I'm just really pleased that our scores are reflecting that these kiddos are right on track with their grade and moving through. So I just wanted to appreciate the cohort chart and acknowledge the COVID kindergartners.
Yep. We knew that would take a few years to get it. That would be this year's fourth graders, right? Yeah.
Thank you very
we
much.
knew that was going to take a few years. So.
We have lots of conversations. One thing that I noted last year, for whatever reason, there were more smaller opportunities for other groups to digest all this information. I feel that if you heard this much feedback from us, that there was other options, and I don't know if you had already thought of that, but there was different settings, and I don't even remember all of them, and some of them don't exist anymore. But I remember the second time I heard it, I went, now I'm getting it, and I'm deeper into it. But I remember also you saying, Nathan, that's good information, and you were hearing it from different voices, not just from the board. Will that be happening again?
Yeah, so our School Improvement Advisory Committee meets on the 8th or the 9th. Don't quote me, it's one of those days in October. And they will be going through this. And so, yes, we're going to replicate the same kind of activity that we did, especially now that we have people familiar with that data. So our SIAC group will be looking at this.
Thank you very much. And then, may I ask, attitude this year? You saw this information last year. It was a lot to digest, but this is second year in. Does it feel more comfortable that we're gathering all this data, that you're able to communicate it to us as well as the district?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love doing it, but I really like seeing it when it's all together. I think it's good and helpful for our new administrators. You know, I think Ann was able to really quickly, like, you know, being new, like see all of this stuff. It's not hard to do. It's just that all of these reports are in 25 different places, and the thing is, we have them summarized, and so we have the data there. I do love it when it gets in this form because it's kind of like, you know, something that you've read and worked with, maybe like a cookbook or a recipe, because even though it's 200 pages, I can quickly flip to the ones I want and start to see the information that I need to see so that we have a really good picture of where we're at. So,
Well, you're
yeah, it's just 200
I would say
pages.
this year you were a little more upbeat about the book, because
Yeah.
there are trees have been sacrificed for this little
well,
number.
we don't have a lot of paper copies, so yes, we're going to have.
We will keep ours.
We're going to have electronic. You can keep yours. We're going to have electronic on the website. We can make it available, obviously, as part of the exhibits tonight. But yeah,
Thank you.
it's there for everybody. So we're glad to get the chance to share it again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, if there's no other, I know it has its own little medal there to get through that. Thank you very much. Phew, your first time down. Phew. See, I told you, we're good. All right, we're up to 502 Policy Committee Report. I'm going to turn this over to Laura.
Great. Okay, so Policy Committee met last on September 10th. All of the Policy Committee members were there, including myself, President Lau Lancaster, and Director Walker, as well as some cabinet members. It was about a 2.5-hour meeting, but we got...
That was a 3, and that didn't include homework, so I'm just saying.
But we got through a lot. So we reviewed 603.11, 1001.4-R, and the 100 and 200 series, which is just kind of our regularly scheduled, let's take a look at these and make sure they're what we need them to be, and they're updated with what IASB says, but also, do they work for Linn-Mar? So, yeah, we have some policy readings on the agenda, and we can definitely go into those policies in more depth at that time.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have a request? No. All right, thank you very much. It's kind of fun, but we get a little exhausted by the end. So thank you very much for everybody for taking the chance and doing your diligence as well, and reading the same policies that are up for tonight's meeting. If I may, I'm going to move on to 503 Finance Audit Committee Report.
Who wants to go? Well, I just want to start with a joke and say that Justin and I may have rivaled the policy committee because we got to go through all of the summer bills. Oh. So we were here for a good 3 hours too.
Yes, well done. We don't want to compete though.
No, it was a good meeting.
Yeah, there really isn't a report. The fact that we went through the bills, that was the biggest thing. We have a number of items that we're working on. I really don't have an agenda. We're working on the 10-year plan. We're working on, yeah, I've got it right here too, so appreciate it. Working on the 10-year plan, transportation, the performance venue, which we'll talk about a little bit later on this evening. And then probably the biggest thing that Jonathan showed us was our budget, our CAR report or SES report, all of that kind of stuff. And he'll be presenting that within the next couple meetings.
Yeah, sometime in October.
Yeah.
We did talk about, there later on the agenda, about the allowable growth for special ed and EL, and we'll have some exciting things to discuss when those agenda items come up.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, if the numbers hold for the rest of the board here, what Jonathan will talk about in October when he presents is that the work that we've been doing for the last several years to increase and improve our financial situation is showing the results of the work that we've been putting in, and so we are running a good ship here.
Yeah, kudos to everybody involved, Jonathan, everybody involved. So.
Yep.
Thank you. At this time, we will have item number 504, Marion City Council report. Director Manzoor, you have a report for September 18th.
Yep. So there were a couple things at the Marion City Council council meeting. There was a lot of conversation happening, and there was a public hearing about the speed limit on Winslow Road. That is right here. So in the end, after probably almost 45 minutes of talk, they have decided to change the speed limit from Tower Terrace Road to Barry's Run Bridge on Winslow Road to 30 miles per hour. They're going to deploy a speed feedback trailer and targeted speed enforcement, which means more police officers just driving around that area. There was a big concern about people going to their mailboxes on Winslow Road because I guess U.S. Mail cannot, they don't have mailboxes. They have that one big mailbox over there. So it was on the agenda to put children at play sign, which also did not pass. Also, they will be talking about school zone speeds behind Excelsior Middle School at future meetings. Because kids just walk over there and they want to try to put school zone speeds. Also, the airport rezoning and airport land use, second and final consideration passed. So that was what was most of that meeting was pertaining to Linn-Mar area, so.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? If not, we're going to move on to 505, Superintendent's Report. Here she goes.
Thank you, President Lau Lancaster. I'm going to start out with sharing just a few of our district honors and highlights that we've posted to the exhibit tonight. Congrats to Bronson Beals, Linn-Mar High School senior, for being selected the September student highlight on the district website. Bronson is co-captain of the cross-country team, serves as a student body president, National Honor Society president, and president of the Model UN. Outside of his school date, Bronson is also a cadet major in the Civil Air Patrol, which is the civilian auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. Also, on our website, we're recognizing 8 students for being named 2026 National Merit Scholarship finalists, and maybe at a future meeting we can recognize them as well. We've got a lot of highlights with fall athletics and homecoming highlights from last week, also scrolling across our website. Speaking of homecoming, we had a wonderful week last week. We just had beautiful weather for the most part, although we had another football Friday night get started a little bit later with lightning delays. But the parade was phenomenal. The dance was great. I think Principal Gustafson shared that we had over 1,200 Linn-Mar students at the dance on Saturday night. So pretty phenomenal. And I think he also shared with Nathan and myself that Friday night football attendance was above 5,700 individuals. So pretty successful week there. As far as some of my sharing of meeting events and participation, I've been able to visit several buildings over the last couple of weeks, and that's always a highlight. But in particular, Lynn Grove has been doing a high five celebration, and this is an opportunity for several of us cabinet members here and myself to greet students as they arrive to school one Friday morning. And there's been a lot of superintendent meetings lately, whether it's the Iowa Department of Ed hosting them, Grantwood AEA, statewide superintendents meeting that Director Snow puts on for us once a month, and our UEN superintendents meetings. We've been doing work here as a board, whether it's been policy or finance and audit, and attended some of those meetings. And community-wide, I've met recently with the Marion City Manager and Marion Independent Superintendent. And this year, we hosted the Medco bus tour, as one of the stops was our very own Educational Leadership Center this year. And we had probably around, I want to say maybe 70 folks total attend. So it was great to get to show off this building, but talk also about the purpose of why this building was here and the work that we were doing facilities-wide to really offer and update new and expanded opportunities on the high school campus, and how the need for the former Learning Resource Center, now the Academic Excellence Center, is housing about 400 of our high school students now. So it was time that that space be given over to the high school. So we're super appreciative of this building. It was great to show it off, but just wanted to remind everybody of why we're here and why we built this building. An update then around a couple of our facility projects in motion. We'll talk about the performance venue again in a little bit, but currently there's drywall finishing happening with auditorium clouds. There's scaffolding that's starting to come down in the auditorium. They're installing lights in a few areas. They're finishing up with heating lines and insulating mechanical aspects. They're also paving the south end of the site, and they'll start spreading some topsoil on the west side of the building. And then the theater rigging install on the stage is happening. And as far as the indoor activity center and renovation projects, today we kicked off our first steering committee meeting with a small group this morning. We have upcoming events. Next Monday, a week from today, we have no school as we have a professional learning day with our staff. And then thinking out to October, we are coming upon conferences. We held high school conferences recently, so now it will turn to elementary, intermediate, and middle school conferences on the 21st and 23rd. And then we'll have another professional learning day on October 24th.
Thank you for your report. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you very much for all the work and speaking on the wellness of our district. Thank you. At this time, we have an additional item 506, Linn County Conference Board. It's actually one of the boards that we have, and Barry went to that meeting, and we failed to get it on. So Barry has a one-liner here about the meeting.
So my apologies, but I serve on the Linn County Conference Board, and I actually really kind of enjoy it. And it's the people that...
Okay, unfortunately, the agenda was approved. We can't add it.
Yep.
What we can do, hang on. We'll do it during communications at the very end. Thank you, Barry. Thank you for the corrections and the parliamentary procedure, my friends.
Appreciate it.
All right. He's going to tell us 2 sentences. We got it. Here we go. We are now under item number 600, unfinished business. 601, second reading of policy recommendations. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the second reading of policies 103.1, 103.1-R, 103.1-E1, 103.1-E2, 103.1-E3, as presented in Exhibit 601.1.
Second.
We have a motion by Laura and a second by Midhat. Do we have any discussion? Without having any discussion, may I please have a motion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? The motion has carried. We are on now to items number 700 under new business. We have item number 701, approval of fiscal year 25 SBRC Special Education Allowance of Growth request. May I have a motion, please, and may you read it, please?
I'll make a motion. Go ahead.
Motion to authorize district administration to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for an allowable growth request amount of $4,813,953.20 relating to the fiscal year 2025 special education deficit.
Second.
We have a motion by Justin and a second by Britt. Is there discussion?
I just want to point out, we're going to get the full story about this in October when we do the budget review, but last year our special education deficit was $6 million, and we had anticipated it growing $1 million, and instead it went down $1.2 million. And in October, John's going to give us the full story on that, but I want to make a point that we have worked really, really hard at looking at policies, looking at procedures, also looking at, how we're funding things. And I want to congratulate everyone involved in this because this is a big deal.
Yeah, including the leadership of that department as well.
Absolutely.
That was a big piece of it, and Jonathan, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, I was double checking. I was like, wait, is that the number? Wasn't it this? No, it's this. And I know that is a complex series of accounting, and so folks watching, I know understanding that deficit is not as straightforward as any of us would like it to be. But just know that there is a lot of thought and time and process into how that's done, and it's done according to every other district. And thank you again to district leadership, because that is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion has carried. At this time, we have 702, approval of fiscal year 25. I will continue and ask someone to please read that motion.
I make a motion to authorize district administration to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $727,388.63 relating to the fiscal year 2025 English learner excess costs.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Barry and a second by Britt. Is there discussion? Not seeing any discussion. May I have a vote, please? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion has carried. At this time, we have item number 703, approval of fiscal year dispository banks affidavits reports. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the depository bank's affidavit reports for fiscal year 2024-2025 as presented in Exhibit 703.1.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Justin. We have a motion by Midhat, a second by Justin. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any discussion. May I have a vote, please? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion has carried. Item number 704, OPN Architects Agreement Amendment. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the OPN Architects Agreement Amendment regarding the new performance venue West Hallway extension as presented in Exhibit 704.1.
Second.
We have a motion by Britt and a second by Laura. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to share, like, we talked about this in finance audit, and there is some kind of leeway in the contract you're approving, the dates that are in there. We asked that it be an extension and not a new project, so it may not have to wait until April. That's still all up in the air, but I did want to point that out.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Justin?
This is just a piece of the in the performance venue that is going to make the building a lot more functional. The feedback that we've heard directly from the stakeholders who are using the building, it's just, I'll go on the record as saying it's frustrating that we're at this place, but we're taking the right direction to move it there. Per the motion here, we're agreeing to the agreement with OPN, and I will be watching very closely from OPN the performance that they give us on this, because this will be a direct review for the rest of the work that we're looking to do here in the district. So I just wanted to go on that. Thank you.
100% agree with you, Justin.
At this time, we are still have a motion on the table, and we are discussing this agreement amendment regarding this new performance venue. Is there any further discussion? If there is not, may I have a motion, please? All in favor, or vote, please. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion has carried. Item number 705, approval of open enrollment requests.
Motion to approve the open enrollment requests as presented.
We have a motion by Laura and a second by Barry. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion has carried. Item number 706, discussion of engagement letter relating to Power School litigation. at this time, should we go ahead and do would you like to do the explanation first or motion first? We have a motion on the table. Could someone read it, please?
I make a motion to approve the engagement letter with France Law Group relating to the Power School litigation.
Second.
Second, we have a motion by Barry and a second by Laura. Is there discussion, please?
I would just let the board know that we were approached, school districts have been automatically enrolled into a class action lawsuit. This gives us the ability to be enrolled in a mass action lawsuit at no cost to the district. So my recommendation is that we move forward with this agreement.
Can we know the details of the class action lawsuit, or is that all still sealed?
Yeah.
Still sealed? Okay.
It's
I
still
just
sealed.
had to ask, what are we agreeing to?
I did scrutinize the wonderful legal jargon, and there's no cost to us. And I think that was the key takeaway. I was like, that we are not incurring legal fees for this.
Correct.
So I wanted to make sure that was loud and clear.
I do have a question. If there's any messaging that we'll be able to give parents, I mean, I've got the Power School app on my phone. We pay I was informed of all these fees for school that we had to pay for my son through Power School. So we're part of a litigation here with Power School. Do we have any timeline on when we'll, and this is not our fight, we're just joining it, I get it, so it's not us, but still Power School is something our parents use. When do we think that we'll be able to tell all of our parents and staff and community more?
That's a great question, Justin. My understanding is that this is going to be enrolled closer to the month of December.
And just to recollect, like, this was the security breach and that we handled, and that we had like tracking provided free for our family. So this is not a new thing. This is follow-up from the earlier data breach, and that was communicated to parents several times, and there was a free identity theft monitoring. Did I say that right, Jerry? You're nodding. Okay, excellent. So
Very
that's
good. Yep.
Thank you, Laura.
You're
okay,
welcome.
That was the piece I was missing. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, and that was kind of what I was asking about, like what does the lawsuit entail? So thank you for the recap, because I vaguely remembered all of that. So thank you.
Do we all feel we got our questions answered on that one? More to come. Is there any further discussion? If not, is all in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion is carried. At this time, we will be talking about our big annual IASB convention that'll happen in Des Moines. We are going to nominate a delegate and an alternative delegate to attend as the General Assembly. May I have we need to discuss first. Sorry, I almost put that in there. Discuss first, and our discussion is who would like to be this delegate, and our second is who would like to be the alternative delegate. To move forward on this, first I just would ask you nominate yourself, I guess, and say that you're interested. It does mean that there's a conflict. I can't remember what we're all doing while somebody else is doing this, but it's,
I'll volunteer.
yeah.
missing lunch.
You missed lunch.
Well, no, not really. It's a lot of the pre-stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of the early stuff.
I have an interest, but since my board seat is pending, I know that I acknowledge that that is not an option this year. But otherwise, I would have happily volunteered.
I think that's, I'm sorry, I should have shown that clarification. You may have interest, but as a potential election could go however it's going to go, we need people who are sitting board members. So right now, Barry is a sitting board member and is not up for election or re-election. He has nominated himself to attend as the delegate. Is there anybody else who would like to be the delegate?
I think we should just let Barry do it.
Thank you.
Well, but I think
We have to vote. Thank you.
I know.
We kind of like it when Barry goes, I need an alternative delegate.
Yeah, I'd like.
I will happily be the alternative if
Okay.
Barry can't go, unless Justin, he looked like he was going to say, If he wants to
Justin,
do
you want
it.
to go?
Skip lunch, Justin.
Justin?
Oh, wait, we skip lunch?
Barry says you don't skip lunch. There's lunch involved. Justin, would you like to be the alternative?
Sure.
Get in
Okay.
there.
All
Get in
right.
there, Justin.
Okay,
45
Britt's off the
minutes
hook,
late
and
for
we're
lunch.
sent. Okay, so let's hope because the alternative shouldn't go. So let's hope
Well-
all is well with Barry, and we're got this down.
Both years that I did it, I didn't miss lunch. That was just Barry last year. So,
I didn't miss, I was late.
It was a joke.
The biggest thing
It
last
was a
year
joke.
of course, the absentee piece.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
our major discussion.
Yes. You
Thank you
you
very
did
much.
make lunch.
I need then a motion to approve Barry as the delegate and to approve Justin as the alternative. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve Barry as delegate and Justin as alternative delegate for the 2025-26 ISB General Assembly.
Second.
We have a motion by Midhot, a second by Laura. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We are now at item number 708, first reading of 100 and 200 series policy recommendations. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the first reading of the policy recommendations as presented in Exhibit 708.1.
Second.
I have a motion by Laura, a second by Barry. Is there any discussion?
I'm just going to pre-thank the committee. I sent an email today with some just small little grammatical edit things and a question or two. So I don't want to talk about them. I just want to thank you guys for looking at them later.
Thank you, and I appreciate they were grammatical opportunities for us. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion has carried. Item number 709, approval of contractor for the IC concrete upgrade project. I need a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the Rastri Construction Incorporated as the contractor for the Indian Creek Elementary Concrete ADA Upgrade Project as presented in Exhibit 709.1.
Second.
We have a motion by Britt and a second by Midhot. Is there discussion on this motion?
So this has come up in a couple different committee meetings and finally able to move it forward, just kind of updating some of the concrete ahead of being able to make some updates to the playground. We're hoping for next year on the playground at Indian Creek, but I know we've had a lot of conversation around the playground situations and when we're able to do certain things. So this is a great step forward. And John, can you comment on the timing as this will all go forward?
Yeah, so Rachi Construction is low bid on this. They're able to start in the next 2 to 3 weeks and would be done by December 1st. So we had 2 bids on this. We had a couple other contractors say, hey, we'd be happy to bid, but we can't fit this into our schedule until 2026. So it was good. Rachi was able to get us squeezed in and make that better for our students.
And if I remember correctly, this is going to create, in addition to fixing some of the concrete and making things smoother towards the playground, we're also creating some green learning space as well, right?
Correct. Yep.
I had a couple questions, just more for the goal of transparency. So how will this impact the day-to-day experience of an elementary student at Indian Creek?
Yeah, so currently right now, our original plan was to repair the asphalt that is between the 2 doors that the students enter and exit on the north side of Indian Creek to get to the playground. Kind of after we evaluated that repair really wasn't an option, it needed to be replaced. So just your accessibility, being ADA compliant, meeting your slopes, not having your cracks to get from the building out to the playground is much more easily achievable.
But you're worried about the interruption.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
During the yeah, thank you, Barry. During the
so once we have
construction.
Rachi on board, we'll set up a meeting with Rachi ourselves
Translating.
and Amy Bowman out there to understand how she uses that space now and how we'll work together to make it better for everybody.
So there will be lots of communication between, like leading up to and when the construction is happening with Indian Creek leadership.
Yep.
Okay. And then my other question, and again, this is just more of a transparency thing. One might ask, John, how are we paying for this?
Yep. So this will be paid for out of PEPL.
PEPL.
Yep.
Which was voter approved a few
Correct.
years ago.
Yep.
Was that last March?
Yeah, it was only last March.
That felt like several years
I
ago.
did.
John, can I ask just one more question, just because I'm sure a parent's going to ask it? And I think the answer, I think I know the answer, but I'd just love to hear it, is, so some might say, but there aren't students during the entire summer. Why wouldn't we have done this during the summer?
Yeah, so really, as we were evaluating this and making decisions, this isn't something that you can just say, hey, come fix this. Right now, the grade, the slopes on that is not ADA compliant. So we wanted to ensure that we had a licensed engineer do the design work on this to make sure that we do have ADA compliant concrete with its slopes and all the rules we have to meet there. So just that process takes time to be able to get through, out for bid, and then receive the bids back.
I just lastly wanted to thank you and the finance committee for getting it here now, hopefully as quickly as we could after going through all the bids and all that process. I know I have brought up several times the concerns about the playground and accessibility at Indian Creek and all of our schools. And so I just really want to thank you all for making this happen.
I just want to clarify, we are not raising any taxes right now, right? Because it's PEPAL funds that have been approved.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion has carried. We need a motion for consent agenda, please.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Britt, a second by Barry. At this time, is there any discussion?
Just a congratulations to our two retirements, Jen Circle and Joyce Dayton. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much to both John and Joyce. This is awesome.
I also wanted to acknowledge we have a teacher who's leaving on military duty, and just acknowledge the balancing of those commitments. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Mrs. Dill when we were at the Day on the Capitol, and so just, I guess, safe travels.
Thank you for that acknowledgement as well. Any other further discussion on the consent agenda? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. We are now moving to item number 900, our board calendar and communications. I'd like to highlight some board upcoming events. September 25th, we will be at Boulder Peak for 11 o'clock tour and discussion. 11:30. I saw that right there, too. How'd that happen? 11:30. You should have said 11 o'clock, then I'd be on time. October 9th, we have committee. I think, does anybody know the time on that?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Thank you very much. October 26th, October 22nd, we have the Marion Chamber annual meeting. You need to RSVP for that. You need to tell Gayla that you are planning to attend. October 23rd, Finance Audit Committee meeting. October 27th is our next Board of Directors meeting. Are there any additional communications from the board? Barry has asked that his comment be put on the next agenda, so we will pause on that.
I just got an email. The school counselor advisory is December 10th, not October 29th.
I got that too, and that was in place of this meeting.
Okay, so just clarifying.
It did not say in the email it was in place of.
Well,
but
they
it
only meet
said-
twice a year,
yeah,
so I'm guessing that it's
December.
in place of.
They did say in place of.
All right, so there's a correction. October 9th is not the date. It is December 10th, 4 o'clock.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I go to that. Thank you. I just saw that.
A real quick comment on the communications too. Right before this meeting, I attended a ribbon cutting for the Paul Draper Pocket Park, if anybody knows where that is.
Yes, I do.
Where the caboose was moved to, et cetera, out by the Legion Hall. Anyway, Paul was a very good friend of the board. He attended every board meeting for X amount of years, and it was just a rewarding event to go to this afternoon. So.
Thank you for going to that.
Katie, one correction on the Finance Audit Committee. That is actually on the 17th at 10:30.
So Finance Audit Committee is correction. It is October 17th
Correct.
10:30.
at 10:30. Thank you very much. I have down, Midhat has another obligation to go to, but she is attending the next city council meeting. Yes. Thank you very much. And I have that Barry will be following up with that one. Everybody, you've been given an invitation. Hopefully, you've taken them up on it. America Reads Day. It's so much fun when all of us take at least a couple of schools to read at. Please know that if you haven't been given an invitation, just contact us. Just let anyone know that you're able to read, and they will be glad to put you in for that. And that's leaders and readers from all over. I think there were more cheerleaders, football players, cross-country players, show choir people, and than me. So it was great. All right. Do we have any board committees? Nope. Do we have anything else for the benefit of this group?
Yeah, I saw right before I came in today, good job, Renee, on the Facebook page, that the Wilkins Playground opened.
Yes, I forgot.
So
That's awesome.
I saw the Parks and Rec post, but their pictures were just of the new playground, but it was all empty. And our posts showed all of the kids having a blast on the new playground equipment. So kudos to that. Congratulations to Wilkins. It's a beautiful playground. Yay.
Mayor Nick was so impressed with Linn-Mar's production that he forwarded it on his personal page, and I think Marion picked it up as well. It's just fun to see. Thank you for your work, because your work matters, and people tell stories from that work. So thank you very much, and congratulations to Wilkins on your brand new playground.
At 6:21, I move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn by Barry and a second by Britt. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? No, the motion carries. We are adjourned.